Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So today we have the first panel discussion from Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce in World of Hospitality Expo. We have the topic that would be what are the challenges in ensuring the differently abled people integrate with the society. We have with us Mr. Manoj Mathew. Mr. Manoj Mathew is a highly respected personality in the hospitality sector and is currently heading the hospitality division as the Senior Vice President Operations at Tamara Leisure Experiences Private Limited. Mr. Mathew is renowned as a Taj veteran, having dedicated his experience in the Taj group of hotels for over 34 years. So that's a long time, Mr. Mathew. Mr. Mathew's journey in hospitality began after he obtained a BSc in Science and earned a Hotel Management Diploma from the Institute of Hotel Management, Catering and Technology and Applied Nutrition in Mumbai. And in addition to his professional accomplishments, Mr. Mathew is a well-respected thought leader with a strong moral compass. He is a past president of SCAL International Bangalore and and a founding member of the Karnataka Tourism Society KTS, where he currently holds the position of Joint Secretary. He also chairs the Tourism Expert Committee of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce BCIC, and further contributing to the advancement of the industry. We welcome you, Mr. Mathew. He is the moderator for the day for the panel discussion. Over to you, Mr. Mathew.
Good afternoon. This is a difficult time to sit when your stomach is rumbling. So we have an interesting group of panelists here. We have somebody who's looking at the future, somebody who's also handling present, and somebody who has great experiences in the past. So I'll start always with the futures, and the only lady in this panel group, Ms. Sanchari Chowdhury. She is the director of IIHM Bangalore, and she heads the south for the group. She's a management professional with experience spanning 20 years across hospitality, telecommunication, and education management verticals. She's an alumni from the IIM Hotel School, Kolkata, and a graduate degree from Robert Gordon University, UK, and Masters in Marketing Management from Vishwa Bharati University, Shantiniketan. Now, she's been associated with a lot of institutions, and if I have to keep reading her accomplishments, I think the time will be over. So let me quickly say that she is very committed to this whole industry, and presently she has been conferred with Fellow of IIHM International College of Distinguished Fellows in UK in 2020, and a recipient for Women Leadership Award by Notable Awarding Association Networks in Karnataka. She is also the co-chair of BCIC Tourism Committee. So I welcome Sanchari. We have amongst us a very distinguished gentleman, Mr. Basavaraju, who is a former State Commission Rights of Person and Disability Act, Government of Karnataka. Shri Basavaraju is a graduate in Education and Arts from Bangalore University, a diploma holder in Special Education, and also certificate in Management from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. He's been working for over 3.5 decades in the disability sector, and that speaks volumes. Among his greatest accomplishments, he's traveled all over across countries, studying the best practices to grow the disability sector into something meaningful. Mr. Basavaraju was the founder, secretary, and first CEO of this unique organization, and first of its kind in India, called the Disability NGO Alliance, DNA, which is a registered society. He's been appointed as a state commissioner in 18 to 21 by the government. He was a state commissioner of RPWD Act. Presently, Mr. Basavaraju is engaged in mentoring, nurturing individuals and organizations to meeting the individual growth and sustainability in disability sector. Again, I can go on and on about Mr. Basavaraju, but welcome to the panel. We will get an opportunity to know more about as we talk. Last but not the least, Sanjay. I connect very well because fellow hotelier, and I keep envying the job of hoteliers because right now I am in the corporate world, but hardcore operations. Sanjay, welcome. Sanjay looks after the operations as Area Director, Operations South for Lemon Tree. We all know the contribution of Lemon Tree in this particular field. We'll discuss more about it. Sanjay is an MBA and Hotel Management graduate with 24 years experience in the hotels and retail operations. Prior to joining Lemon Tree, Sanjay was associated with the Oberoi's Hotels and Resort, Grand New Hotel, Radisson Hotel, Inorbit Mall, and Virtuous Resort. Sanjay is currently based out of Bangalore and oversees operations of operating in upcoming hotels in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andaman, Nicobar, and Dubai. He's got the best of all the world. Welcome, Sanjay. This is a topic which has come much in the limelight because COVID made us all disabled. For 2.5 years, all of us were disabled, and suddenly we realized the importance of humanity and importance of caring with each other. So this topic has gained a lot of traction now, and we will dwell on it for some time. I will start with Mr. Basavaraju because he is an expert in this field and he's seen the before and after, much before COVID and of course after COVID. So Mr. Basavaraju, your views on what has changed after COVID, and do you see any progress in the attitude and aspects of this disability?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Manoj. Well, I think, first of all, to look at an exclusive panel for disability itself is something that we all need to acknowledge. One time it's not even talked, not even looked at, as a disability, as a sector that could contribute to different the sector's growth and so on. Well, in terms of the journey, if you look at for the last 2 decades, is a phenomenal change in terms of the perception, attitude, and the way in which people with disability are contributing for the larger good of the society. You name it, they are there in almost all sectors today. There are IAS officers, there are scientists, there are bureaucrats, there are NGO leaders. So their contribution is quite immense, and society is also kept recognizing and constantly giving an opportunity, and not just opportunity, they look at as somebody they could contribute to the greater good of the larger society. I think that shift we could see for the last 20 years. Also, I think if you look at from the point of view of the government, the government has done phenomenal work in terms of building some infrastructure, shaping the attitude and the perception of the parents. One time, the parents were looking people with disability more as burden, more as something, they cannot do much. The rest of the life we have to look after them. That was the kind of a perception. But if you look around today, particularly, for the last 10 years, I would say, the investment on people with disability, they are all over. They are into college, they are into master's degree, they are into, special schools. And at least 70-80% of them in the mainstream education. They are no more, specifically restricted to so-called special schools. So there has been certainly a huge shift, because parents also recognize if the opportunities are provided, if the support is provided, nothing that they cannot do. Everything is possible for them. So that is the shift I see. In terms of, if I look at from a societal perspective, I think society by and large is open, trying to look at it. But the challenge for the society is the exposure. They don't know much, because only when they come across, but there is an openness and willingness to do something all across the society, but the lack of skills, lack of understanding, the little bit of hesitance. I think more and more they start seeing, the more and more they publicly watch what these people contribute, the society will certainly gear up and do a lot more thing. So in terms of physical infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, we have been moving far better when compared to about 15-20 years ago. I think in 5 to 10 years, I see a phenomenal change, a growth, because digital infrastructure is going to provide a greater opportunity for people with disability of all kind, so that the barrier, the disability barrier can be removed and they can become part and parcel of the life, and like anybody else. And of course, once they start do that, the greater acceptance and the productivity and the dignity will automatically come. I'm very positive, I'm very hopeful, and we all need to put a little bit more effort, more energy, because this is an area where unaddressed for quite some years. So therefore, as leaders, there is some more work we all need to do. If we can do that, I'm sure they will be able to come to mainstream and do a lot more in the days to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Basavaraju. That was very heartening to see the general progression that has taken place. I have a question for Sanchari. Sanchari, you represent the future, our students. How do they embrace this slow change in the way we look at this particular topic, where they, as Mr. Basavaraju said, from moving out from special schools to moving to professional bodies? What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you so much, Manoj. And first of all, a very good afternoon to everybody, to the entire audience. And I have to say that I'm amongst angels today, because all of you have, collectively come here today to address on a very sensitive topic, which we always have taken ahead with our hearts, and where we are talking always about people who are coming with special needs, because they are special. Well, hospitality or education for that matter, what I represent here, today people are growing their awareness. There was a time, and I come from a family where I have at least seen one of my very close relatives who was born a special child. I have seen the kind of courage that child was being given, and the kind of self-esteem he was basically being given to build up his life. And definitely today, I'm very happy to see him growing because of the confidence the parents have shown, rather than, the acceptance from the society where they are being, framed to be under a particular line of maybe people who cannot do normal things. The word normal is again very interfering in a lot of things, because we don't know what normal is. Today, we might be getting to see a child who might be at his best abilities, but then he might, after a point of time, not do something which is normal. So I think we need to all be extremely sensitive towards it. Even in education today, we don't restrict ourselves in getting just normal children. You know, we are accepting and we are keeping our hearts open to anyone who's coming with a passion, with a drive. Yes, as educators and principally as people who are taking care of our infrastructure, we need to make somewhere a lot to make all these locations preferable for a child coming with any kind of such special needs. It can be somebody who might not be able to walk well, somebody who has got a learning disability, and we as educators keep on getting a lot of such students who are maybe typecasted as slow learners because that's what their parents say, and maybe they also feel that way. To make them more confident, of course, making them a part of our entire intrinsic, nature, making the other students, their peers, it is very important because they are on and on staying and getting themselves educated with the peers. So the peer education is very important. They need to also know and understand that yes, they need special attention, and maybe they need to be a part of every activity which goes on in our education system. It should not be that, we are only making certain things possible for them. I'll just give a small example. In colleges like ours and hospitality, it's all about practical studies. It's all about human beings. It's all about making things happen. We cannot make, a position there where we say that these children, since they're coming from so-and-so background or so-and-so possibility, can do this, and the rest we will be giving them, another. Now, if they are made to understand that we cannot do this, then it will be very difficult to make them a part of that group, and they will always keep on feeling that whatever they can't do is a handicap. I think mentally they should be given that promise that yes, you would be able to do so, and that can only happen with education. That can only happen with our designing our infrastructure, somewhere synthesizing our team, our faculty members with that feeling that yes, they have to be trained, and we need to be, just like I was talking to Sanjay ji before this, we were talking about collaborations. And we need to collaborate with the right kind of people and associations to come and train us, ourselves, in order to handle all of them and making them a part of our domain.
Thank you, Sanchari. You brought out some very important point about inclusivity and also focusing on infrastructure. I think one organization which has grown leaps and bounds in that direction is the Lemon Tree, and we are all very proud of the fact that they have taken proactive strides in ensuring that this segment is well thought of and it's part of a very important part of the strategy. So we are all very curious to hear from Sanjay. What do you think was the reason behind taking this initiative, and also what are the, it's a slightly bigger loaded question, how do you integrate them with your other associates when you have this segment with you?
Thank you, very good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Thank you, Manoj, for asking these questions. So the vision of hiring or inclusivity of hiring people with disabilities started around 15 years back or more by our chairman, Mr. Patanjali Govind Keswani. He's a visionary. He's, he foresees the requirement, he foresees, he was very, very kind-hearted. He wanted to make it happen. So that was, I think it is a top to bottom that came in. That's very important because the chairman of the company and the managing director of the company wanted to have this aspect of it. So that came in, and we tried in different hotels of ours. First, we tried with employee with speech and hearing impaired. So we took something that is very easy. If you're familiar with hotels, departments is housekeeping, is food and beverage, is kitchen, is front office. So we tried in department that are slightly behind with the back of the house that we call it, but also partially on the front of the house, which is housekeeping. We tried giving them tasks that are easier, simpler, and to do. So we trained those people to do the task of cleaning, which is was a great success to us, and very efficient these kids are, because they had nothing to think other than the work that they've been assigned to. And as they were given a task, and the task was of importance to them, and they feel proud about it, they got a lot of confidence coming in the behavior that are there, and that lead to a loyalty factor in the towards the organization that are there. And currently we have grown. We have tried out different segment, which is IDD, autism, locomotive disability, low visions. So all this aspect has been tried at different hotel of us, and we still have around, last year report says we have 14.5% of our employees as employee with disabilities that are there. So and the future is around 26. By 2026 we should have around 30% of them employed by lemon tree hotels. So it's a great number, and we're quite confident that we are going to get in over there. To say, we have 8,000 plus employees and 100 plus hotels across India and abroad. So we are growing really fast, and we make it as a part of our business model. So it is, we need them, and we have created this business model including them, right? So that's our business model that is essential for both the parties. So there's a stake for both the parties to come in. So which is making things happen much faster, much easier for us. A couple of things that we do take care of engaging such talent with us is educating the the employees' parents, because they are one of the key decision makers that decide on the things. So we engage with them, we make them comfortable, we show them the workplace. There is a constant feedback system that happens with them, so that help us to retain those kind of jobs that are there. So that's the familiarization for autism employment and IDD. What we do is we engage with the NGO partner to help us to get in, train them, and a traineeship program that has been developed for them. So that are the key thing that help us to build up on this and retain those employment. And I said that Manoj is a part of our business model, and we have to hire them, and we make things enable to hire them and to sustain them.
Yes, Sanjay, one of the things you all don't realize is when you see the faces of the parents and the students and how eternally grateful they are to be given a chance. It's almost like being reborn. And I think I'm not a religious person, but the blessings that you get from this part for doing this kind of activity is much more than doing prayers in a temple or a church or a mosque. So I think there's a much more larger social cause. Now coming back, Mr. Basavaraju, on the work environment, what do you think that the factors that they should look at so that the people who from this segment are much more comfortable? What do you think some of the things, I know attitude is one of the things, but what are the other things that you feel we should pay a little more attention on the work environment?
Thank you, Mr. Manoj. Yeah. Well, I think Sanchari madam did sort of mention first and foremost is the physical space, like both of them mentioned. So that could be the the first priority. it's not that we need to invest heavily, it's just that we need to put some thoughts earlier on. So it's not people with disability who need the, the facilities. It's so many others, senior citizens, pregnant women, and children, all need accessible space, so that the design part of it, if they can put a little bit more thought and all that, the physical aspects of it taken care. The other thing is, most important thing is certainly certain level of skills that we need to build with the co-employees, because particularly communication, and there are certain times, depending upon various types of disability, if we can learn how to communicate effectively and efficiently, so a lot of work can happen. I think that can come by actual practical experience as we start moving. So of course we can give some head-on theoretical base, but I think real learning comes when you co-work. And the third most important thing is the aspects of, like Sanjay brought out, the parents' engagement, because certainly as a society the issues of safety, issues of those things are still lingering in the minds of the parents, and even for us, as where different laws are there, then there a little bit of caution, little bit of put systems in place would go a long way. But as we start moving in that direction, things will automatically fall in place. I think these are the initial challenges that we have. Most importantly, I believe that, like ma'am said, this education need to start right at the college level. Whether you run a course for people, if you can start sensitizing, start working with them, so inclusion becomes an automatic. See, today we have to have a lot of work, an extra work in my opinion, but if we can include as part of the system, part of the structure, it will flow, and little bit of changes, adaptation that we can do. And most importantly, I believe that because we deal with various kinds of disability, a certain level of accommodation may be required, because some disability may require a rest once in 2 hours for medical conditions, for various reasons. I think while we are designing the work, we are designing for people with well-equipped, everything is good. I think we are not sensitive that there are certain categories of people do require a specific kind of a support. That accommodation we need to think. It's not that the productivity will come down. It's just that additional support would go a long way. And most importantly, I believe that we need to measure for their productivity, outcome, and the goodwill what we get from the larger society. I think that if we can look at that, people with disability can be great contributors for the larger good of the society, for the families, and for the industry as well as a strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ma. Very valid points. So you did say that infrastructure and design is paramount. And I think time has come where the brief given by hoteliers and people who are employing a lot of people, the brief should also be how to make spaces friendly in the initial design itself, so that you don't need to then break and do things. So that part of the exercise, we may need to take the help of the agencies which are government agencies, who will then mandate that I think space should be there. I am reminded of a story where in Singapore, I was doing a program in Nanyang University. So they took us to a restaurant where they blindfolded us. They blindfolded us and they made us have a full 3-course meal in pitch darkness. There is nothing you could see, you could not remove the blindfold. We were about 25 of us, 4 of them ran away because they couldn't handle total darkness. But the most important thing is, after this whole exercise, when we came down, they showed us what we ate, and they also told us that we were served all the meals by totally blind people. The whole meal was served by them. And that was a revelation. There was no cutlery, crockery, breaking, nobody banging each other. And also revelation for us how our heightened perception of sound senses increased. So when you feel that one part is disabled, trust me, these associates have extraordinary perceptions in hearing, in smell. So there are a lot of things that happen in the workplace that are normal. So then actually we realize we are also disabled, because these guys have really great sense of smell and hearing. So these are lessons that I think we must learn. Now, I think important thing to remember is that there is the government and there is the private partnership. And if we work parallelly, I think we will not be able to make much progress. There has to be a collaboration between the government, private government partnership. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Basavaraju, where you feel?
I think most governments are more willing today, because it's also a challenge that they need to solve it. But the only thing is, we need to start, like you rightly said, it's a PPP model, private, government, and the parents. 3P, if we can do that. We can certainly think of using a lot of government infrastructure, government resources, and the kind of due diligence and all that we can do it, because government is more willing and wanting to do it. But government needs that bit of extra support, because it's a very large body. The nuances and all that has to come from either from specialist organizations or from industry like you. But I think openness and willingness to do is very much there, and government is willing to put in more resources.
Sanchari, I think from an educator's point of view, I think more awareness has to be created amongst the general public and the people about this particular aspect. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, very important, because just like you said, and even Mr. Basavaraju mentioned about collaborations are very important today. I'm very proud to say that coming from an organization, an education organization like IIHM, we are absolutely open towards everybody to be an inclusive part of hospitality. And today in our education, AI, artificial intelligence, is again a very, very big paradigm shift for everybody to be a part of it. And I think through that, that is one way of education where everybody coming from all kinds of societies, if we talk about disabilities or without disabilities, everyone can be a part of it. It's more about making our education more sensitive. And I'm certain that collaborations and AI, technology, can do wonders and can make everybody feel at home, and they can be better educated to tomorrow go ahead and be a part of organizations like Lemon Tree and so many others.
Sanjay, that brings me to the favorite hotel group, which is spearheading this whole program. And how do you think the feedback from the people who are differently able, are there instances where you changed your program, or did you use technology that Sanchari is mentioning to ensure that this whole initiative is enhanced? Can you give any examples? Can you remember something which you can tell us?
Yeah, I just want to tell, about we do organization run because of profitability, which is revenue. Second most important is definitely guest feedback, which get us more revenue in. Third is about employing to make sure that you give great service to our guests, right? So in terms of revenue, we get a segment of people wanted to come and stay with us because we are doing this initiative of hiring disabled people, right? And we encourage doing that, and they are part of it. They love being served. So there are great stories that come in as a feedback from these people, which is heart-touching. Is very, very kind of them to share it and everywhere. So there are people see that and they want to come and stay with us, right? So we are covering this three aspect of it. Regarding employment, when we employ, we all our team members are Indian Sign Language experts. They can communicate. So that help us to communicate with the people of speech and hearing impaired. That help us to make them really kind as a human being, and to help each other, and be a buddy to the people, to the employee. So that help us to create a team that is more kind, more responsible, and create a great society that are there. So these three aspects get covered in our whole journey, and we ensure that we emphasize right from the top till the bottom. We emphasize on this aspect of keeping them engaged on this. So,
Sanjay, I don't know if you know, there is an organization internationally where differently able people stay in resorts and hotels based on an audit conducted which says it's all aspects, the width of the door, all the ramp, every single aspect. So there are organizations which take this very seriously, and they would like to travel like a normal guest, and hotels are now keen to make sure they welcome them. I think that's the best part of the story, that it's not that hotels are getting worried and they feel that, oh, I've got one room which is disabled able, so I've done my work. It's no longer, I think there is a whole lot of change in attitude that is happening. I think the underlying fact from what everybody has spoken is that in the present context, one of course is to create more awareness, because any awareness on this aspect is. Second, of course, is infrastructure and design, whereby we look at how do we make the place more user friendly. Third, of course, is training, where we train our staff to be more empathetic and also to understand some of the challenge. And I think if we start this, we take baby steps and collaborate. Very important point which Sanchari kept saying, if we collaborate, I think it's not a very far horizon where Mr. Basavaraju will suddenly feel happy that after sacrificing so many years of his life in this, some positive work is done. Any questions from the audience? If you have anything to ask or say? Yes.
Thank you. It was quite insightful. But I also understand that your Sanjay is from the hospitality industry, wherein he is employing the disabled people, and Sanchari is, of course, into hospitality education. Now, how do you want to integrate it with the hospitality industry per se? If you can throw a little bit of light, anyone? Manoj, you are also from
okay, so let me, because Sanjay is already doing a lot of work. So we are also from the hospitality. What we have done this year is we have now allocated certain positions and designations which are meant only for them, so that our HR cannot hire anybody else. Because when we keep the option of mandate, there is a problem. They'll say, no, I'll get another staff. When you say no, this is the only, so we have not as advanced as Lemon Tree, but we are taking steps. Workplace safe and workplace making more user friendly is part of our design now. So I think we are very conscious of the fact that we have a responsibility. We claim to be responsible hoteliers, not only in matters of sustainability, and also I think in these matters also, I think we want to be responsible.
Yeah. Mr. Sanjay, I have a question for you. How do you train the core team to integrate with the physically challenged or, the, the special employees that you hire?
So, let me, because Sanjay is already doing a lot of work. So we are also from the hospitality. What we have done this year is we have now allocated certain positions and designations which are meant only for them, so that our HR cannot hire anybody else. Because when we keep the option of mandate, there is a problem. They'll say, no, I'll get another staff. When you say no, this is the only, so we are taking steps. Workplace safe and workplace making more user friendly is part of our design now. So I think we are very conscious of the fact that we have a responsibility. We claim to be responsible hoteliers,
So we have all our team members are Indian Sign Language expert. They know how to communicate with speech and hearing impaired. We have regular training that happens with them. We have developed SOP for the task that has been assigned to people with disabilities. I was just talking to Mr. Basavaraju saying that we have for IDD, we have a handbook that has got picture and the task name mentioned in that, which they carry in their pocket. So they have given a 10 task to complete in a day of 5 hours, 6 hours or 8 hours. So that task has been timed, name of the task and the picture of the same person who is doing that task, because they tend to forget sometimes, right? So we develop that so they can take it out from their pocket, see, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I have to pour water over there. So they do it. So we simplify the whole task for them and it is easily doable, and we keep on reviewing those tasks so that they understand where they are getting difficulties, can be tweaked. The SOPs is still very, very new, and it is different for each and every individual. So we design the task according to our requirement, according to the ability of the persons, and make it useful for both the parties. So we definitely design our, like Manoj said, we have taken care of every aspect in terms of workplace safety, in terms of designing of SOPs, in terms of making it enable for our team members to communicate and take the task given to them.
Yeah, sorry, I just came a little bit late in the conversation, but I just want to ask, how is it as far as career advancement is concerned? Because many times we talk about the physical infrastructure, ramps and gender neutral washrooms and different labor. But what about career advancements, in the hospitality industry? You don't often see people who are differently abled at the leadership or management roles. So I just want to know if, what is the scenario there?
I think things are changing. You have IAS officers, IPS officers who are differently abled, who have now broken the barrier. I think more than career, it's the fulfillment that is the focus here. Is the person feeling that he's an integral part of the society? For him, that is more important. I think Mr. Basavaraju can throw some light into it.
I think it's a good question, ma'am. Thank you for asking this. Our experience has been for the last 20 years. We have sort of made the journey, and some of them rose up to mid-level now. And of course, depending upon the size of the organizations, certainly at the middle level doing extremely well. I think the larger industry is now opened up. I mean, I would look at it maybe in another decade or so, some of our people will be start holding that positions. But I think the most important thing is that they are recognized and their abilities are recognized. But I think certainly there is a lot of work that we all need to do in order to get there as parents, as organizations working with people with disability, and leaders like us have to start put thoughts, energy, and see how the time that taken can be reduced so that we can see them on the top, so the attitude will shift. But we have seen certainly a huge change, particularly at the middle management level. Lot of our people are functioning of all disability, not just one particular category. Locomotor disability, they are all over. So hearing disability, they are slightly inching towards that. But I think intellectual disability, autism and all that, lot of learning that we all need to do.
Yeah, to add it on.
Before you add it on, actually I should have added this. How can we avoid the meritocracy debate here? Many times, do they actually merit that position, or are we giving it to them because of their special situation? So, that is something which, the industry needs to, not just hospitality, but I think across India, we need to, there's a lot of debate going on, meritocracy. Like, does that person reach that level because of what he is or because he deserves to be there?
Ma'am, to be honest with you, there is a certain level of sympathy factor to begin with.
Empathy, yes.
No, start with sympathy, and then we are inching towards empathy. I don't think, we have to say that we are already there. But I think law also supports that. See, why many IAS officers became IAS? Because the law. And they did not, like Mr. Manoj said, there is certain work as a leadership team that we need to do. Hey, this middle management position, senior position is meant only for that. I think we are not graduated to that level as it. In terms of meritocracy, I do feel that there is a lot of debate, discussions happening. I think once they start prove, many industries, many people want them rather than others. Because there are so many other possibilities. If a person with disabilities are there, the chances are, he keep shifting, the job is limited. His productivity levels are much higher because you don't take, different breaks like others. So I think there are plus and minus in this. But I think as a society, a lot of work, a lot of attitude shift has to happen. Thank you.
So in Lemon Tree, what we do is we hire them as associate, and they have grown till assistant manager level in different positions. Whoever are capable of getting into that position as meritocracy. We aspire to see someone as general manager, which is always a wish that is there, and we want it eagerly looking forward for that. So in soon.
Yeah, thank you. Just a point.
Thank you.
So I think we have reached the end of a very insightful discussion, and it's something very trending. I just attended a DI Awards yesterday in Mumbai, and we saw a lot of traction happening in that area. So thank you very much for your thoughts, for being here, for sparing time to be with us. We have a small token of appreciation. May I call upon Satish, my colleague, Rajan Nair. Satish, you can give to Mr. Mathew. Thank you, Mr. Mathew, for moderating this very insightful panel, very timely panel, opening up conversations about inclusiveness in the hospitality industry and across industries. Thank you. To get his name right, Mr. Basavaraju. Yeah, Rajan, if you can just do the honors. Thank you very much. A round of applause would be good. I know there's less people here, but still. Thank you very much for being a patient audience. We have Ms. Sanchari. Please, thank you. She was here last year as well. Thank you very much for your valuable time and support. And Mr. Sanjay Kumar, Satish. Thank you. Thank you for being. We also have something special for you. We have Mr. Ankit Chowdhury, from the Champions group, and he has got something really special for you all. So you all need to. You want to say something about so Champions Club? I think they have a lot of resorts. They have in Bangalore, Goa, and Dubai also. Yeah. So they just want you all to experience. You want to say something?
So Champions Club is basically all into providing experiences. We provide luxury experiences like yachts, air charters. We do luxury itinerary planning. We do also a lot of experiential events. Of course, destination weddings are always very experiential. But apart from that, doing product launches in very different ways is something we really love to do. And that's very challenging in terms of dealing corporates and explaining them how experientially you can launch your product in a very different way. I'll give you one example. We did we launched Skoda Octavia RS on a racetrack in Singhania racetrack in Bombay. We hired 3 rally racers from the country. We made every guest sit in the rally car kind of experience, kind of a thing on a racetrack. So that's like one kind of experience for them. Other kind of experience what we do is so we got some vouchers here for you, which is for stay and yacht cruises and everything. So other kind of experience that we make sure we do on the yachts is if you're going along with your kid, we'll make your kid sit on the captain's seat with the captain hat, and probably they can ride the yacht for a couple of minutes. It's water, so it's safe. That's going to be the lifetime memorable experience for them. So these are some kind of experiences that we offer. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Ankit. You can present them with the vouchers. Thank you. Thank you.
जो भी फोटो लेता है ना फ्रंट में बुलाओ उनको टेबल्स दिखना चाहिए कैन यू प्लीज कम इन द फ्रंट ऑफ द टेबल थैंक यू
Clearly, I have so that there is movement for a visitor. Clearly, I